And I guess in simple terms, it sort of automates the process so that we don't have to rely on humans remembering what to do when. But I guess at the start, it's quite important. How can you automate the start? Somebody surely, or a team of people, have to spot all the component parts so they don't suddenly leave out an important group of people. So I guess value stream management automates most of the process, but you still have to have that human input to start with to get the, if you like, the procedures in place. Is that right?
Yes, I think, you know, as you go into a more distributed environment and maintain all the requirements on the process, you've got to start to automate things like governance. So or compliance. So you've got to, you have to conform to GDPR, for example. You need to do that. In a typical, maybe retrospectively, people would, get together in the meetings, and the security guy would say, "Have you done that? I mean, here's the checklist. Where are we? Great." Or gee, you need to go back and do this. That kind of iteration is inefficient, first of all, in the best of times. But when you've got people spread out, waiting for time zones potentially, I mean, you could have real delays where you're just completely wasting time. So, I think that what people are talking about, and, there's been some interesting research done on adaptive governance or automated governance, where I actually say, okay, if you're doing GDPR, what the requirements are. Let's embed that into the software delivery process, the release templates, so that if I'm going to be doing a particular application and the system will automatically require me to have a particular capability, maybe a security element with the data, maybe, where it's being stored, whatever the case may be, how the opt-outs or opt-ins in the case of GDPR are being managed to maintain customer data security and that sort of thing. It'll automatically ensure that the code that's being developed and the process that's being done is being tested or measured against the completion of those tasks, and it's automatic. So people don't need to worry about it. That's one of the really cool things about automation. Everybody thinks about automation as, I push the button and then the other end, something comes out at the end and it's like, woohoo, I mean, it's great. The real value, I think, is the consistency of the process. The automation ensures that the process works exactly the same way every time. So even if you have steps where you want to ask somebody, the automated process is what we used to call automated, where it would go through the steps, and just before it was going to hit play on a deployment, for example, it's going to say, "I'm ready to go. Are you sure?" And it gives a human interaction to go boom, which satisfies the scariness of going to an automated process and seeing things go right out the door, but maintains the consistency and precision of the process. And that's critical in governance and compliance, to be able to have an audit trail and say, did you, perform your steps exactly the same way every time? We are SOC 2 compliant as a company ourselves. We just went through a SOC 2 audit. That's the secret sauce, being able to say, I can prove that I went through these steps the same way every time. And that's what automation brings you. So if you can take a process that's a mix, a combination of hybrid and automated tasks, embrace the automated tasks, provide triggers and safeguards to make sure they happen when they're supposed to and how they're supposed to, combine that with the manual tasks automated by the process that's governing that, and you get an efficient software delivery process where not only are you doing things consistently, as I said, but problems arise. Obviously, I mean, nothing's perfect. So if, in the old days, it was the andon cord in the genesis of value stream management in the manufacturing world, today it might be that there's that there's errors or a compliance breach or something, and the process needs to say, well, hang on, wait a minute. Where the value stream management collaboration capability comes in is that information, that delay, that problem, is immediately visible to every dependent system on the entire pipeline. So everybody knows that that's a problem. So they can adjust accordingly, so that they can ensure that that they're operating as efficiently as possible. In other words, if there's a delay here and I was ready to release a particular component of maybe I've got 2 or 3 I've got to do for this particular release, and this component's going to delay, I can change the way I do my work so that I get the second one done while I'm waiting for the dependency to clear up for the first one. And then I get back to it. So I can be completely efficient, and I don't even have to talk to anybody. That can be an automatic flag. So it's like collaboration without the need to be on the phone every day to collaborate. The systems facilitate that, which is, what's added over and above an office collaboration tool like Zoom or Slack, with a product like Value Stream Management, is the tool actually provides a lot of the collaboration itself.
And as part of that automation, I mean, how intelligent is it? I'm just thinking maybe, so, if you develop a program, application, whatever, and then you're doing something similar, is it able to say last time you did this, or, recognize the same things and sort of take some shortcuts? Is that a benefit as well?
That's a great question, Phil, because that's exactly a benefit. Now we start to get into, pattern recognition, things like, where you start to talk about machine learning, AI ops, that sort of thing. And as you now have all the data from the tools, so in order to accomplish everything we've talked about, all the tools on the pipeline are communicating in, and there's a common data model. That's how Value Stream Management works. So all the information that's available in the pipeline, from the tools, manual processes, the governance templates, all the things we've talked about are now embedded in a common data model. That common data model then, is serving up the information in consistent ways to reports to be able to measure what's going on in the value stream. There are tons of metrics, from throughput to how long does it take you to repair a problem, et cetera. Everybody listening knows that there's thousands of these metrics. So I have all these metrics coming up. Well, we have this very intelligent system that's watching that. So it can see that, well, when this happened last time, we had a problem down here. So we should flag that. Say, okay, when, we got to change the way we're delivering that software because we're going to run into the same problem. And I'm going to alert the appropriate parties that there's an issue. So you get, this notion of what if analysis that comes from that as well. I can say, I wonder if I built my product or split my team out and did it this way, what that would do to my throughput. And you can put that into the system, and the system will say, well, it'll speed it up, or it'll slow it down, or it will have no impact, or whatever the case may be. It'll give you the ability to test things without having to fully implement them. And so it's a little bit like on the marketing side, we do a lot of A/B testing on websites, where we'll put something out and we'll see which one behaves better. This is a similar process in development, where you can actually do tests, so you know exactly the right way to build a UI or an application flow, or whatever the case may be.